So now that we agree that asset protection or estate planning is the first thing that we should discuss, how are we going to do it? It is not a very common conversational topic I do have with my clients. Thinking about the future if you were gone, but who's making those decisions. But however, very important, for peace of mind, but also financially. So we really would want to make sure that we get an estate planning attorney involved right away. Either you might have a friend or family one that has worked with one in the past. Otherwise I could provide you with a referral of someone I've worked with that's taking care of my clients. Regardless, we would want that expertise, but also to really make sure we're doing the most effective way. Once we get that estate planning attorney, we'd want to make sure we create a trust, an actual irrevocable family living trust. The reason why you want to do that, first of all, you would avoid probate, which could be very costly. Second of all, it also gives you control of your assets during your lifetime. Once that trust is created, we then need to start putting all those, assets, into the trust. When I look at your actual balance sheet, from a bow to fur to jewelry, we'd really want to make sure that's labeled so we could protect that financially, just in case anything happened to you. Second, what I'd want to make sure is we're creating a will. A will is extremely important to say whose roles and responsibility. If it's the executor, the personal representative of the estate, someone that has, the actual experience, but also has that loyalty and integrity to also take care of your beneficiaries. That's extremely important to make sure we're getting. But the second we would want to make sure is also the guardian, right? The guardian in your case is probably the most important, because you have 3 kids that are under 18. Elsie, I know we had conversations around Sarah possibly being that one, but you're a little bit unsure. I'd want to make sure you're having that discussion with her now, so then we can have that in place just in case anything happened to you or Alan. We also would want to make sure we have a good trustee, that actually has that experience, but also has that financial acumen to make those decisions on behalf of the trust. After we actually create that, the executor, the guardian, the trustee, I would highly encourage us to establish a durable power of attorney for medical, but also for financial concerns. Just in case you become incapacitated and you're not able to make decisions on your behalf, you would want someone that you could trust and love that can make those decisions for you. And specifically around medical and financial, those are 2 important areas. Along with that, I want to make sure we create an advanced healthcare directive, to really make sure that your specific, directions or wishes are granted, medically, for a doctor standpoint. So just in case that, you're handled the most effective way and they're able to see, what directions you really wanted. After that, I'd create a letter of personal instruction to actual outline, how you want your funeral, if it's being cremated or being in the grave outlined. So specifically, your funeral wishes are also granted. After we create, the trust, the will, all those specifics, durable power of attorney, I would want to make sure we're looking at your brokerage accounts and your retirement accounts, making sure we're taking care of the beneficiaries, because that could be subject to probate as well. If it's, primary or contingent beneficiary, I would want to make sure your trust is involved. We also do have proposed 529s, that we are going to be using for Jerry Jr. and Christopher's, college education, probably even Kelsey in the future. We really would want to make sure we're discussing, the primary beneficiary, but more important, the contingent beneficiary, so your educational wishes and goals are actually being fulfilled as well too. So, a lot of stuff that we've discussed and a lot of, documents, but I really want to make sure, as I mentioned at the beginning, is getting a estate planning attorney will help you along the way. Of course, I will too as well, but we would want to make sure they're actually helping us with the documents and getting things taken care of, because these could be something that is, it's not done overnight, and we really want to make sure we're starting tomorrow. Now that we have the estate planning attorney discussion talked, and we'll talk about the action steps at the end of our meeting, let's go into the second, actual discussion point that I'd love to go over, and that's, the income protection. You had some concerns around disability insurance and, the cost and the protection, and just in case, when you need it in a specific age. I'd love to get a little bit more deeper on that to really make sure that we are able to protect you, just in case anything happened, medically, so we are able to cover, at least your essential, expenses, but also hopefully your discretionary expenses as well too. So I'd love to transition now into income protection, disability insurance. How does that sound? Great.